We go 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's talk about soloing over giant steps. That's always a big challenge for everyone to deal with this tune, and we all have our individual ways of dealing with it. I just have a certain way that I deal with it, so I'd like to share it with you. I think in essence, and I'll kind of work back to the idea and whatnot, but I think in essence the whole thing for me comes down to simply connecting the major fields that are happening. So you're simply connecting B major with G major with E flat major, and then we have a 2-5-1, and we're simply connecting G major with E flat major and B major, and going through the other 2-5-1 sequences. But what we're primarily dealing with and want to talk about is the Coltrane part of the tune where he has that great sequence going on. So the reason I say that we can do that is because I have a really liberal viewpoint of alter dominant chords and what can be played over top of them. I happen to think that all 12 tones are available to us to play over an alter dominant chord. And if you say just take D7 sharp 9 for instance, D7 altered, if you play the D Mixolydian scale, that right there is 7 tones, and so we only have 5 more tones in the scale, in music. So there's 12 tones. We have 5 left. The 4 of those are altered tones. You have a flat 5, a sharp 5, a flat 9, and a sharp 9. So right there is 11 tones. The only one that gives us all these, the only one missing is this one. That's the major 7th. Of course, that's to me the major sticking point. But Charlie Parker came up with the bebop dominant scale, and it's just I look at it just as a passing tone. So you can play a major 7th against a dominant chord because we're not going to stick there for very long, and it works. So that's a really quick way of explaining why I think all the tones are available for an altered dominant chord. And of course, even though this tune is D7, any dominant chord, resolving down a 5th, is eligible for altered tones. So this could be any kind of a altered chord. So then what that does is it leaves us totally open to simply connecting the major fields so now let's get to the major part, because I think the key to soloing over this tune is 2 things. Understanding the major triads. I for a long time neglected major triads because we grew up hearing music, hear people talk about music, and they say, okay, now your basic triad unit, just a basic chord, blah blah blah. And so when you get into jazz, we think we want to get into all these heavy duty harmonic things, and definitely don't want to deal with the basics. We want to get into the meat of it, right? But when you get into music, you realize that triads are really, really intense things, and what you can do with triads, how they're made up, their sonic weight, and all that kind of thing. So I look at the triads as being like primary colors. I mean, it's a very direct type of sound, and so that's one way. The other way of dealing with the giant steps major scenario is what I call fields. So a field of sound would be around this G major chord here at the bottom, in this area, that area, this area, and this area again. So just knowing how a G major sound works around this area, around that area, this area, that area, and back to the top again, that gives you the full scope of your major sound. So G flat 6/9, and I was thinking that kind of like that bossa nova samba feel, and so as I was working with this, coming up with these chords, I just decided, I just want to go with that direction. So that was my basis for a song feel. So I came up with the following chords, and I have B flat minor 11. Through this process, I generated a G